One of the things that happens often when you do a late model motor swap is you have a drive-by-wire system, so there's not a throttle cable anymore. And that makes it difficult to have cruise control. But at the Dakota Digital display at 2015 SEMA, they have a solution. So tell me about it, Scott.
You're right, Trevor. That definitely is a very common thing. Going to a throttle body without a mechanical cable, you're presented with everything being electronic and you have no good means of a cruise control system, so you're always put your foot into the pedal. The solution to that is our new drive-by-wire system. The way that this works, this has an input and an output that plugs directly into the throttle pedal, into the GM LS throttle pedal. So that provides all the input from the computer. It allows us to control the output. Small black box is what does all the heavy lifting and the processing. It's receiving the remainder of its data through the OBD2 diagnostic port. That's telling us the speed information. That's telling us what correction we're making as we're making that correction. So everything really becomes a direct plug-in. This is directly to the throttle pedal. This is directly to the computer system through the diagnostic port. Then the user input comes through a handle, a traditional cruise control handle with a resume, set, accel, coast, all those type of traditional functions, telling the unit what you want to do personally, if you want to speed up, if you want to slow down, turn on, turn off, that sort of thing. So it is a direct plug-in setup, makes it real simple for those LS applications.
Okay, so I remember using the old system. Actually, I just got done putting one on a truck, and there's the switches and the tuning and all that. Is this got any of that you got to work with it, or is it just plug and play?
It's a self-learning system. Because we're communicating with the computer and we're seeing the results directly from the computer, it self-adjusts all of that calibration. So we know what the original values are, what we're looking for as far as acceleration, deceleration. So that's all handled by the software through the unit. So you don't have dip switches to change, you're not telling it a pulse per mile count, a cylinder count, all that information is all coming through the data bus. So it really is a direct plug-in setup with no calibration needed by the user.
So I see there's a few more connectors. Do you still have to plug in brake lights and that sort of thing with it?
The only other input, it's a power and ground connection and an input for the brake light switch, or to the brake light pedal, rather.
And then I'm assuming since it's working with the OBD2 system, if you have a manual transmission car, that's all taken care of. There's no clutch switches?
That would be as well, because it sees that input, yep.
Well, that's so easy, I don't know what else to ask.
It's simple, yes.
All right, I see above this is something we use a lot, and but I don't think a lot of people know what's out there yet.
Yeah.
It's a speedometer interface, so tell me a little bit more about this and what it's good for.
You're right, it's a definition of a black box. It's not a flashy product by any means, but certainly a problem solver. What this is for, it allows a mechanical speedometer, that could be an original speedometer, it could be an older speedometer driven from a mechanical cable, to be operated by a newer transmission. So a newer transmission that only provides an electronic output from a VSS speed sensor. You connect that to the input of this box and it spins the cable on the outlet. It uses a very high torque DC motor on the inside, similar to a cordless drill. It uses that with a servo feedback system in here, so we know exactly what change we're making. As we're ramping that speed up, we see that changing. As you add some drag to the speedometer cable, that can be through a bend, that can be through potentially an older cable that has some resistance in it, it's going to compensate for that and increase the speed, so you can hold that at a steady speed. So it spins the cable on the outlet. We have a variety of cables to choose on the outside. It's about a 3-foot long cable, and it will spin that mechanical cable. So this unit can be mounted inside the cab. It can be mounted in the engine compartment. It's watertight, splash proof, that kind of thing. So you have some flexibility in terms of mounting. Of course, you have full adjustability as far as calibration with tire size and gearing and that sort of thing. So through the lighting in the side, through a push button switch, you can calibrate that mechanical speedometer to dial it in at 60 miles an hour if that's your target, for example. It isn't quite the direct plug and play that the cruise control is, because there is a calibration process to it, but it's reasonably simple. It's just a matter of following the manual, stepping it through, and then taking it for a drive to verify your setup.
Another thing I was interested in, Scott, was the digital climate controls. I know you've had these, but these seem newer to me.
You're right, they are newer. These are newer devices compatible with the Vintage Air Gen 4 systems. The beauty of this is we're all getting so used to setting your preferred temperature, your climate control in your vehicle at 71, 72 degrees, and not really touching it again, other than maybe the vent locations. That's really what this system will do. You dial in your preferred temperature, and it really takes it from there. You can move the vent locations, you can move your temperature up, you can move your temperature down, you can manually turn on and off the air conditioning itself. But beyond that, the system really is smart. And what I mean by that is we're monitoring the incoming temperature from the cabin, we're monitoring the outgoing temperature coming from the AC system itself. So we know what effect we're having on the air, and we know what's coming in, so we can compensate for that in both the inlet and the outlet side of it.
So this, to me, looks like it's the same dimension as the 3-knob streamlined vintage air cells. Is that true?
That is true, yeah. It is designed to be a direct replacement for that. So anybody who may have that already installed, or at least a hole cut for it, a panel for it, it does allow you to drop right into that same opening.
And since this is monitoring the temperature, is there a probe? How does it determine what the inside temperature of the car is?
Yeah, you're right. There are a couple of probes. There are a couple of sensors. One on the inlet temperature, and then there are some on the outlet of the vents, or that go actually in line in the vents. So we're seeing what impact we have. That helps us change the parameters and the algorithms in the software to heat up a little more, to cool down a little more, to make that change without overshooting or undershooting and being slow.
So this really is going to work as well as it does in my Cadillac, where I turn it to 72, and as soon as the engine warms up, it cranks the heater up, and then it slows it down before making it too hot.
It certainly varies the speed. Knowing what we have for air coming in tells us how much can we ramp up that speed when we're able to blow warmer air, and then we can taper that back down and really slow that fan speed down as you approach that, and then maintain that as you get there.
And then the other question I got is, are these all the color choices? Is there more, or what all we see here?
With these units, we do the brush finish, a chrome finish, horizontal or vertical. You can do even a digital style or a more analog type style with a knob. Same functionality, other than the fact that you're just selecting your preferred temperature. It still maintains that. It just doesn't have quite the modern digital look to it, a little more traditional looking. But these are the styles, all of them having the same cutout footprint.
All right. Well, I really like that. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks a lot.